Welcome, everybody. I'm excited to jump into this session. We got Vasu, Chief Quality Officer over there at Maestro. We're so excited to have you, Vasu. How are you doing? And thanks for joining.
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. Fired up for this conversation and topic.
Yeah, well, we're going to be talking about quality is the new metric, how to measure what really matters in CX. But before we do that, maybe just tell us a little bit about yourself and some of the things you guys have been doing over there.
Absolutely. So, hello everyone. My name is Vasu. I'm the CEO and co-founder of MeisterQA, but I personally think of the Chief Quality Ambassador.
I love it. Sorry, I had to use that, Vasu. I had to use
No, I think it's even better. So nice to meet y'all. Maestro, our mission is to help every customer we work with to build cultures of quality, and the way we do that is through not the frog, but the other side behind me, QA everything. And so we build our software to help our customers QA everything, and customer is a phenomenal partner where through our integration we help our customers do quality on all the processes that customer powers for a company. Um, and we have about 500 customers, and we work with brands from retail to banks to insurance. And it's really amazing to see how companies are really caring about quality. We know there's this customer of ours, Crunchyroll, and she said there's two questions you should be asking. Was it done, and was it done properly? And so we really are about that word proper.
I love it. Yeah. I've heard that. I love that. Is it done? Is it done proper? Yeah. Awesome. Well, again, I think you guys have a great talk track and kudos on the success you've been having. So, want to dive into the session today. Some of the things that the audience. We've been chatting with different people, so we got a handful of questions for you. We're going to run you through quick here. Thinking about kind of this elephant in the room. Why do you feel like some of these metrics, like CSAT, are struggling, or in some people's minds no longer cutting it?
Mhm. Yeah, I think, I've been working with specifically in the CX with CX customers and looking at these metrics for almost a decade.
Yeah.
And I think customers always felt like they weren't cutting it, but
Yeah.
they didn't have a better way than what they didn't have better tools at their disposal to figure out a better alternative. So, you have a CSAT metric and you want to measure agents or you want to measure the quality of your CX department off it, but we all know like sometimes it's about the policy, sometimes about the product, has nothing
Yeah.
the agent and the process was all done correctly, but the customer was still unhappy. Or maybe it's a fraud case and you have to reject the fraudster. And of course, they're going to give you a bad rating. It's just a totally irrelevant metric in certain situations. And so AHT, like, well, it's nuanced. Like, okay, do you want just short AHTs? I don't think so. Then you have people just hanging up, or you don't necessarily just want long AHTs if they're the bad sign. And so metrics in general have so many flaws with them. And that's why people would build quality programs as a way to look behind the metric and see what's really going on and use it as a directional indicator, but don't use it to be the seal of approval, like the judgment, the
I
judge
like.
the judger or the judgment day.
Yeah. It's like it can't be the end all be all, but it's still there's still room for it. It's just finding where it fits in the house, so to say. I like
Yeah.
that. I like that. You're obviously the kind of the master of quality, and you've worked with some of the best, really, I think, customer obsessed brands out there. What do you feel like they're doing different when it comes to measuring quality, or just quality in general here?
Yeah. So I would say almost all our customers are, okay, how do we, instead of this manual QA program, think about the role of AI in it, obviously. But I'm going to actually split, okay, the world has shifted towards how to think about AI as a way to measure quality.
Yeah.
Cool. Now, but the nuance I'll give is I think customers fall into two buckets. One that I don't agree with, one that I think the best are doing. The one
Yeah.
that I don't agree with is they want to use AI to automate the entire quality review process.
Oh,
They
interesting.
want to
Okay.
create a whole QA score that's just based in AI. And I put this out on LinkedIn the other day where it's like, you don't automate things completely that you care about. You automate the things you don't care about. You won't automate the relationship with your parents, your partner, your kids, right? And so when you say I want to just automate quality, you might as well say, I don't care about quality. And so what the best though are doing is they're actually using humans to pay attention to quality, but they're using AI to pay attention to other signals outside of CSAT or HT
Okay.
and use AI to be like a risk detector in the conversations, a monitoring tool. And then they use the people to really do the deep dive investigation. And so
Yeah.
that's what the best are doing. That's one.
I
The,
love that. I love that. Okay.
the second thing they're doing is they're starting to think of quality less in a transactional way, just about agent quality, and they're using the quality to think about it holistically. So the people are looking at about people, product, policy, and human performance holistically. So that's
Yeah.
two. And then the third is they're thinking about quality in a journey sense, not a individual transaction sense. I'm not
Yeah.
just going to measure this ticket. I'm going to try and understand the journey of a user from onboarding to their first purchase. As many of those conversation signals, they're really trying to understand the journey sense. I
Mhm.
want to analyze all the customers that churned and look at their customer conversation history. So those would be my three buckets that the most innovative customers are
I
doing.
love those. I love those. Yeah.
The
Look,
only the only last thing I'll say, no, before you go, is I was talking to a chief customer officer yesterday, and he of this 5,000 person company, and he said my ideas, like the ones I said, might not be new, but I'm going to be the most aggressive, and
huh.
people are just not aggressive enough with these ideas.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a great cap on top of it. Look, you still kind of have me on number one there. I just feel like a lot of people are struggling with that, this AI stuff. And yeah, to your point, you can't AI your parents. I mean, you might want to. I might want AI. I
Yeah,
hate the relationship with my parents,
might not care about them, then do it
but
there.
but it's not, no, but in all seriousness, yeah, like look, things you care about, you need to make sure you hand on. And so I think finding a way to find that balance of kind of AI and automation, or AI and humans, is a really important one. We've been hitting this idea of quality a little bit, but for those, maybe I should have maybe asked this to begin, but for those who aren't as familiar with it, how do you define this kind of quality concept? In your, like, you're the chief quality, what does that mean for an organization? Sorry, maybe I should have started there, but
Oh, that's a great question. What I think of like this idea of, I hope there, in healthcare, thankfully, and we work with some medical device customers, some hospitals, you see it in telehealth customers of ours. They
yes,
actually have a chief quality officer because
right.
it's such a sensitive area. You need someone to be the biggest ambassador of it. And so when I think about being that biggest evangelist, it ties to this mission state or this approach of QA everything. So we work with the insurance customer, and they're not only doing QA on their servicing side, they're doing QA on their claims adjusters. They're doing QA on their underwriters. They're doing QA on their
Yeah.
sales team. And so ultimately, we have a customer like DraftKings that does quality on their managers to make sure they're great
Mm,
coaches. And so when I talk about being a quality evangelist, it's how do you incept this idea of QA that sounds so support or contact center specific, but apply this idea that quality is everywhere in our lives, personal and
yeah,
professional, and how do we just find a way to improve it, look at it and improve it every day. And so that's
I
what
like
I mean, a culture of quality.
I think that's great. Yeah, yeah, that super helps. I think just frame the conversation. So, want to talk about QA programs for a minute. So, a lot of people we've been talking to, they struggle sometimes getting these, QA programs across different models, whether that's in-house or BPO or remote, etc. What advice would you give for creating that consistent QA program that actually can scale in an organization?
Well, what my number one advice is, whether it's your BPOs, in-house, you want AI augmented or whatnot,
Yep.
uh, I was at an onsite with the customer in Nashville a couple weeks ago, and then you can be more blunt, when you're in person about it. And we had all these ideas, but what I said is like, similar is like it's actually a leadership challenge. Like a leader needs to say what too many leaders are unafraid to do. They want to be innovative with AI, but they don't want to rip the band-aid of the old. They want to take a print newspaper and do it a digital version of it on the internet. And
Mm,
that's just not how you get to the future of leveraging quality at scale. And so
yeah.
the perfect example is too many customers are obsessed with randomized QA scores to measure agents. And we have
Yeah.
a slogan, death of the QA score. And so to get to a consistent, scalable quality program, it's not a technology problem. It's a leadership willing to rip out the old habits and
Uh,
reimagine a quality strategy with a whole new set of technologies at your availability. And not enough folks are willing to rip that cord. Yeah, because it's so ingrained how we
so
used to.
hard. Yeah, that's so hard to just get rid of the old, and that makes a lot of sense. People want kind of the best of both worlds, and sometimes you got to rip the band-aid off a little bit, it sounds like. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, coaching's another one that comes to mind here. A lot of people asking about coaching, and I feel like sometimes it can be a transformational approach, like it really can improve performance. Other times it feels like it's a check the box exercise. I'm curious, in your mind, you've probably seen both. What do you feel like separates those two programs?
Yeah, coaching, the current state of coaching programs we see across our customers in the industry is absolutely horrific. And so if you have BPOs, like, and sometimes you work with these BPOs and they are responsible for coaching. You have
Yeah.
no visibility on if they're coaching. You have no visibility how frequent they're coaching. You have no visibility into what they're coaching on. And when they do, when we talk to our customers about it, like they say, yeah, they say they do it. They have to do it in their own tool. And then if they ever peek above the hood, either it's not happening, and we have customers once they put it in Maestro and they get the metrics, they're like, "Oh my God, you got it becomes a performance KPI." So one is you need to have more control of even knowing if it's happening. But two, it's like even if you almost are glad it's not happening if you see the quality because the people need to learn how to coach, especially these first time managers at BPOs and or in-house. And the coaching is improve your CSAT metric, improve your solves per hour, improve your adherence. It's not a how. There's no behaviors there. And so AI can help you really detect behaviors because now you're analyzing behaviors in the conversation, and it
Yeah.
can help you shift towards a more behavioral coaching program, which is obviously more motivating. Who wants to be told like
Totally.
a number in a factory, do more widgets per hour? They want to
Totally.
really developing skills. And
Yeah.
then just to close the loop, the most innovative customers are using their quality program, as I alluded to earlier. I'm thinking of DraftKings here, and they QA the coaching sessions.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
put LLMs on the coaching sessions.
Oh,
And
wow.
now
Yeah.
you take things to a whole nother level.
Yeah, that's a whole nother. That's awesome. I really like that. I like that. That's great advice. Do you mentioned AI multiple times now, kind of in our talk track, but I just want to kind of single it out. Do you just to make sure the audience kind of hears your direct perspective on it? Like how do you see AI playing a role in QA today? Is it a threat to human judgment? I mean, it sounds like you've found companies, really being able to elevate, certain areas with it, but go double click on that for me for just a minute.
Yeah, I think there is a sliver of things it'll automate that you don't need to do, but I
Yeah.
actually think that's some of the lowest value stuff to work on.
Yeah.
Um, what it is really well, it's really helpful to make the quality team spend their time smarter on where there's actual quality risk. So there's this thing, you go from random quality to a risk-based quality program.
Yeah.
So, or an opportunity-based quality program. And so it can shift so your quality team can be significantly more valuable than just, you sample five random things. You might get four of them of the like password reset questions. And so like you're not going to get a lot of meat or insight out of it. So that's
Yeah.
big change. But the second one is so automating risk-based or opportunity-based. But the third thing is the skills that the quality team, like we describe the quality team's opportunity is you have your BI person who is the numbers person. They come
Yeah.
up with numbers-based dashboard. The quality person with just basic prompting skills can start to turn feelings into facts, and they're like the conversational BI person.
Love that.
There's an
Yeah.
opportunity to massively up-level the future of being in quality. And so I hope people take advantage of it versus just trying to automate their scorecard and I don't know.
That's cool. No, look, I think that's great framing. Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to what you just ended with, like, just let me just automate my scorecard, for example. But I think what you're talking about definitely transcends that in multiple ways. That's a great reframe. Vasu, really appreciate the dialogue today. A lot of interesting points, some things to think about. As we have the audience, the tuning in. A lot of people are feeling overwhelmed. A lot of people are feeling like they got to do more with less. Some of these common trends, obviously AI. Some people are feeling alone. The budgets aren't there to travel as much. Um, what anything you'd leave this audience with? A little bit of a summary, maybe of what we said, or maybe something that just comes to your mind as people try to navigate these ever changing waters.
Yep. Well, one is there's a lot of people that pitch an easy button with AI. Hey, we'll automatically tag everything and we'll figure it out. And 98 out of 99 times, people are getting burned by it.
Yeah,
People say, hey, like the accuracy is not that work, it's not that good. You have to put in way more work. And so then what happens when people pitch it is your leaders expect you to have like, why is this so much taking so much longer? Everyone else is telling me it's just a couple clicks to work. So how do you bridge that gap? Try and get leaders and yourself in the rooms with other people teaching you about AI. And if I can be helpful about what I'm seeing, loop in people like me or Gabe or et cetera, get the right people to really educate the leadership team on where AI is great, the amount of work it requires, and where it's not going to be good. And so that's my number one advice is try and bridge that knowledge gap. And then two is also be leaning in and learning about prompt engineering, and trying to develop that skill, because I think it's going to become a critical skill for people in the future.
Yeah, look, I think that's a great way to frame it, I think. And yeah, if you're looking for people to follow Vasu, his LinkedIn is pretty fun. He's got some good posts. Every once in a while, everyone's
Sure.
always got some good posts there. So you should definitely follow him. So okay, cool. We'll really appreciate your time, Vasu. I think that was a fun talk track for the audience. Hope you enjoyed the rest of your day. Take care.